We can all agree that ever since the James Webb telescope was launched, space exploration has become quite interesting. Scientists discover something new every time the Webb telescope sends back some amazing images. In addition to Webb's looking back in the past, it's also keeping an eye on our own solar system. This includes some of its planets and exoplanets, sending back images that are just spectacular. One such image is of Jupiter. Jupiter was once photographed by one of the satellites in space, but the images sent back then were not any closer to what the new images from the Webb telescope look like. So, what's the difference? Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll look at some of the stunning new images of Jupiter that were revealed recently as sent back from the James Webb telescope. But before we get into that, make sure that you leave a like and subscribe to our channel for nothing but the best updates on space. And with that, let's see some of these new images. The James Webb telescope is by far the most powerful telescope ever launched to explore the universe. The telescope, which is worth about $10 billion, is named after James E. Webb. Webb ran the then-fledgling U.S. space agency from 1961 to 1968. The telescope was a collaboration that was led by NASA, along with the European Space Agency and the Canadian Space Agency. It was launched in December 2021 and has been wonderful since then. It took about 6 months after launch for scientists and engineers on Earth to fully calibrate and align it in preparation for exploring the universe. By July, it was ready, and it had started its mission. As it was being launched, scientists expected it to send back some of the most amazing and clearest images of the universe, but they did not expect them to be as good as the first one sent. The first set of full-color images and data obtained by the revolutionary telescope was like any other images sent back to Earth. They displayed great detail, exploring even further than anyone would have ever thought. It revealed a greater part of the cosmos, showing galaxies and even a dying star. Since then, the telescope has been sending back images of different parts of the universe. Among those images were those that were revealed about a week ago, and they showed Jupiter, which is the fifth planet from our Sun. In addition, Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It is more than twice as big as all the others combined. Think of it this way: if the Earth was the size of a grapefruit, then Jupiter would be the size of a basketball. These new images from the James Webb telescope show great detail of the planet, revealing its giant storms, auroras, and even faint rings. According to planetary astronomer Emike de Pater, Professor Emerita of the University of California at Berkeley, we've never seen Jupiter like this. It's all quite incredible. We hadn't really expected it to be this good, to be honest. De Pater was one of those who was leading the observations of Jupiter alongside Terry Fauch, who's a professor at the Paris Observatory. All this was part of an international collaboration. The pictures of Jupiter that were released a few weeks ago were actually taken in July, but NASA had to analyze them before they could be released to the public. NASA refers to them as giant news from a giant planet. De Pater said in a statement, "It's really remarkable that we can see details of Jupiter together with its rings, tiny satellites, and even galaxies in one image." There were 2 photos that were released of Jupiter. To get these images, NASA had to bring together several pictures of the planet that were sent by the James Webb telescope. These images were taken by the near-infrared camera, which is one of the instruments on the James Webb telescope. This camera has infrared filters that can showcase the details of the planet. Since infrared light is invisible to the human eye, the images were artificially colored to translate them into the visible spectrum. This was important so that some of the planet's features could stand out and be seen. All these images were processed by citizen scientist Judy Schmidt. Jupiter is nowhere close to what Earth is like. A great example is the fact that Jupiter has no solid surface, unlike Earth. The planet is a gas giant. Though it is the largest in our solar system, it is mostly composed of hydrogen and helium. Scientists speculate that it has the same basic ingredients as a star, but it never grew large enough to ignite. In addition, thanks to these images released a few weeks ago, it was discovered that the planet has several rings. However, unlike those found around Saturn, they are fainter and made up of space dust rather than ice. When you look at the new images from a wider point of view, you'll notice that Jupiter has faint rings and 2 tiny moons, which have been given the names Amalthea and Adrastea. Astronomer Fauch said, "This one image sums up the science of our Jupiter system program, which studies the dynamics and chemistry of Jupiter itself, its rings, and its satellite system." Jupiter takes about 10 hours to complete a whole rotation around its axis. In addition to this, there are at least 50 moons. The 4 largest moons of Jupiter are Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. These 4 moons were first observed in 1610 by the Italian physicist Galileo Galilei. In addition to all these observations, the images also show one of the most interesting features on Jupiter, which is the giant red spot. Because it reflects sunlight, this spot appears mostly as a white spot in any photograph of the planet. The Great Red Spot is said to be a storm that's bigger than the size of Earth, and it's been raging on the planet for centuries now. However, there is more of this Great Red Spot. According to scientists, it's hard to imagine the sheer scale of Jupiter's Great Red Spot from here on Earth. The storm is estimated to be so big that it could swallow our planet. However, it is said that the Great Red Spot is not only wide, but even wider. In fact, it's way deeper than anybody expected it to be. According to NASA's Juno spacecraft data, the massive storm extends as much as 310 miles, about 500 kilometers beneath Jupiter's cloud tops. In addition, the Jupiter maelstrom is linked to jets that go even deeper than that, hinting that the gas planet's upper and lower atmospheres are tied together. 2 groups of scientists looked at the data from the 2 different Juno instruments and came to these conclusions about the giant red spot. One group worked on the giant red spot's gravity. It all began as a simple idea. They decided to turn Juno's gravity science instrument on the 10,000-mile wide storm just to see if it left behind any fingerprints on Jupiter's gravitational field. Marzia Parisi, who is a scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California and also led the study that reported the gravity results, admitted that this plan was not a part of the original Juno proposal. A different group was studying the giant red spot with Juno's microwave radiometer, which is an instrument that probes the planet's atmosphere with microwaves. These scientists wanted to look deep into the storm and see how it ticked vertically. They found that the spot and several other storms on Jupiter stretch far down, with precipitation and drafts at unprecedented depths. They found signatures of these phenomena below Jupiter's cloud level, beneath which the ammonia and water in the atmosphere are expected to condense. There's still so much to be explored about Jupiter. What makes it the largest? What exactly is it composed of? And whether it has water and can support life? Scientists have been looking at it for a while, and with the help of the James Webb telescope, they might just look at it from a different angle. The Webb telescope is powerful enough to determine what a planet is made up of and what's on its surface. We believe that with the Webb telescope, scientists will also discover so much more about Jupiter and other planets. What do you think of the images of Jupiter that were released a few weeks ago? Feel free to let us know in the comments section below. Also, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get updates on what's happening in the space industry. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.